So we have Johnny Depp, and I think that this is a interesting picture for a couple of reasons. We'll talk about it, but let me just show you this ad that's now been circulating the internet. Now, this is not a new thing. This is a collaboration that he did for a Dior cologne. But let me go ahead and play this. Now I turned off the audio so we don't get uh, shut down. But in any case, we see Johnny Depp playing the guitar, very, out in the desert. So kind of highlighting the fact that he's a musician, but I guess this has been picking up traction again. And then I think with the picture as well, I don't know how many of you now, because of what we heard during the trial, looks at details. But for example, we know that the tip of his middle finger specifically, was what was cut off. I don't know when this picture was taken, but obviously his right hand is cut off a little bit there in the crop. That might just be a little bit of a coincidence, but I was kind of looking at that. That was interesting. Now, also, Johnny Depp, I think, pursuant to probably some good advice from his manager or mentors, but he finally started his TikTok account. Okay, so let me actually look at this. I think it's Justice for Johnny Depp as a hashtag has received, I think it's 1 billion. I just want to be careful that I say this correctly. 1 billion hashtags justice for Johnny Depp versus 88 million hashtags related to Amber Heard. But in any case, he's obviously very popular on TikTok. So he did start a TikTok. He currently has 13.3 million followers, and he has posted a total of 1 time with 10 million likes on it. So in the text, to all my most treasured, loyal, and wavering supporters, we've been everywhere together. We've seen everything together. We've walked to the same road together. We did the right things together, all because you cared. And then you see this little compilation. Now he has been on tour in the UK, and we also talked about this during the reading of the verdict. He was not present in court for that, so he has been touring with the band, but he has some stuff coming up. Johnny is going to be dropping an album, and he, in fact, and this is with Jeff Beck. So their album is 18. And they dropped a music video. You can check that out. And it's basically just, a music video of them performing their new single. But that album is coming out in July. So, from everything that we can see, Johnny is moving on with his life. Oh, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see the ad. Let's jump past. As much as we care about feminine care. Yeah, so just some live performance stuff. And, I'm interested to check out what they do. And, quite frankly, I kind of hope that we, maybe in the same spirit of moving on with your life, maybe we see something from Amber Heard, maybe some kind of announcement of what she's doing next. We've discussed about what are the likely consequences as far as, everyone's popularity, and will they get gigs, and will they get, shunned from the public. And we may see some of that, but so far as it relates to Johnny Depp, not so much. And we'll wait to see with Amber Heard. Now, that's more of just everything that is happening newsy wise. We do want to get into more of a substantive conversation. And so I have Timothy M. Collier, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him in right now. Hi, Tim.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing great. How's everything been? We haven't checked in here in a minute.
I know, everything has been good. Been a busy week, but glad to be here.
Yeah, okay. So we do have some things that have been happening in, following the trial, as far as specifically the attorneys. And this was kind of something I wanted to chat with you about, because especially when I was hearing interviews being done by Amber Heard's counsel right after the trial had concluded, and some of the stuff that she was saying in the interviews, it really caught my attention, because obviously the baseline of Amber Heard's defamation claims had to do with statements made by Johnny Depp's attorney outside of court, right? So to the extent that we were hearing, obviously, statements by Amber's attorney that weren't so great as to Johnny Depp, as to the jury. I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of that, but I can certainly pull it up and we can watch it together.
Yeah, no, I saw the Miss Bettenhoff with, at least I think it was on Good Morning America or something, but I've been critical of Amber Heard's legal team throughout the trial and the way they were able to not handle certain things that I consider to be, commonplace in any trial, whether it be objections and how to get around them and all that. I was critical in the after trial statement. I thought it was probably more defamatory than the actual statement in the op-ed. But I got to tell you that I was probably more disappointed than all of that than in Ms. Bettendorf's statements on that particular interview, because she took no responsibility and blamed, one, the judge for suppressing evidence, and two, for the jury, which is probably more deplorable, and essentially accusing them of ignoring the admonishment from the judge and in looking at the social media that was, obviously evident during, hugely evident during the course of this trial. And there's no basis for that. There's been no accusation. There's been no findings. There's been no jury of that. So, quite honestly, I'm kind of hoping that she gets disciplined for that, because to throw a jury under the bus because you didn't like the verdict and accuse them of ignoring an admonition from the court, that's pretty serious. I have not heard that from an attorney in private practice, just not on a major interview. And for her to do that was, at least in my opinion, somewhat deplorable.
Well, and in fact, let's let her speak for herself. So I'm actually gonna play this, and we can just watch it together for a moment. Hopefully, I shared the audio correctly. All right, let's try this. They go home every night. They have social media. Their families have social media. We're going to talk about that segment here, but let's just keep going really fast. Okay, there was a 10-day judicial conference. There's no way they weren't influenced. So let's talk about really fast. Were they on social media during this trial? Were they talking to family and friends about this trial?
Well, you don't know. We don't know. But if what I can tell you is that juries in general, take their responsibility pretty seriously, and they're going to listen to the admonition of the court. The judge, in fact, a lot of attorneys really don't like the judge to speak a whole lot during the trial, because a judge can sway a jury one way or the other with just a very simple comment, even if it's offhand or a joke or in jest or whatever. And so that can be taken pretty seriously. So the judge has an overwhelming influence over a jury pretty much in every case. So by and large, they do respect the admonition. Do we know for sure? I mean, we're not going to know for sure unless somebody admits that they did, and then that's going to become an appealable issue. So we don't know for sure, but by and large, juries listen to the admonition and don't go and do their own independent research.
Yeah, well, and then, following in this clip here, and I'll go back to it just for a moment, but the attorneys for Johnny Depp additionally did an interview. I mean, we seem to keep hearing about the attorneys for Johnny Depp, and obviously the great job that they did. One of his attorneys was promoted to partner in her law firm. But anyway, let's hear a little bit of what they had to say in regards to this specifically. And I want to jump to when they were asked, what do you think about Amber Heard's attorney statements? And so this is what they had to say. I'm getting a message, there's no audio on the clip. Okay, so the question is, when they are challenging, did the jury have an opportunity to be on social media? Were they influenced by social media? Was there evidence that was suppressed? Was there a legal basis? All right, and the attorney is saying he was very disappointed to hear that that's what Amber Heard's attorney was saying and impugning the jury's kind of credibility, honor, character. I mean, that's really what it was. So, does the jury have any claims against Amber Heard's attorney statements for defamation?
Well, she might, or they might, if they decide to actually pursue that. But it is, I mean, juries are probably one of the more sacred bodies in any court of law because they're highly respected. We see everybody in the courtroom, and generally, usually the judge that will stand up for the jury when they come in and when they leave. And they are a body that is respected and, in some cases admired even. But the point is that you should never go, even if you believe it, to be honest with you, you should never go, and especially on a public platform as she did, and impugn the jury, as the Depp attorney said. If there was in fact an issue, they should have raised it at trial. And they didn't question any of the juries. They didn't accuse or move for a mistrial because a juror may have looked at social media. I know there might have been an issue with one juror that I think they took care of. But for her to go on that, I mean, honestly, that is something that is sanctionable in my practice here in Arizona. If the state bar were to actually get a hold of that, I'd probably get a phone call from the ethics branch and say, "Hey, man, that was probably crossing the line. You need to come in and maybe talk about it a little bit."
Yeah, and the verdict was unanimous. There were 7 jurors, 5 men, 2 women, and they had a decision. But this isn't the end of the road, and Amber Heard's attorney is saying that they plan on appealing. I'm not sure what appealable issues they have, but at least as of now, it sounds like they're going to be saying that this was a tainted jury in one way or another, that they tainted themselves. They went on social media. They were influenced by as we just discussed, right, the billion hashtags justice for Johnny Depp and the campaign against Amber Heard. Is that enough to win on an appeal?
Well, probably not, unless they have actual proof of a juror that actually happened to. But one of the things that is often appealable, and she also mentioned in the interview, is that the evidentiary issues, some of the things that were suppressed. She makes a big deal about not having the UK judgment being available to enter into evidence into this trial. I honestly think the court made the right decision. That's prejudicial. The jury should not be swayed one way or another by previous judgments in which they had no opportunity to review the facts and the circumstances. And I believe one of the Depp attorneys in the other interview had even said it's a different standard there. So I think that in itself is probably going to be upheld. I can talk about the standards on appeal if you want, but those are common appeals, attacking the pre-trial evidentiary decisions by the judge of what could get into the trial, what the jury heard, and whether or not they were able to see all the evidence that would have been relevant to their case.